I'm Dr. Andrew Allen from Georgia College and State University, and that was the symphonic band Lyrical Alto Etude. So there aren't a lot of secrets to this etude. You don't have a lot of opportunity for vibrato. A lot of it's just making sure that you're playing right notes in right time with beautiful dynamics. That's your chief tool expressively in this etude, so make sure that you're making the most out of it. Now, a couple other ideas. In the very beginning, normally, when I see staccato, I would say, don't break your airstream, just make sure that you're playing with a nice t or d articulation. We have something this extreme, I'm going to modify that a little bit. One of the best ways to think about your approach to these staccato eighth notes at this tempo is to think about them as bell tones. You're thinking about a little decay and a little sunlight in between each one. So think bell tones, think decay. That's going to be a lot easier than trying to go dit, dit. Nobody wants to hear that. That's not what we're going for here. Rich tones still in each one of those pitches, just with a little decay and a little space between each one. One other big idea for you here. In measure 4, you have something a little odd. In that third big beat, you have staccatos under a slur. That's not really what it is. That's an old string marking, that if a violinist or cellist saw that, they would keep their bow on the string and move it back and forth. So you can kind of imagine, da, 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 da. It's a very connected sound where you're basically just lightly brushing your tongue against the reed. So just make sure that's not super separate. Think about that visual idea of the bow continuing to press into the string and just changing direction. That's the sound that we're going for here. Now, listen as I perform the technical etude. That was the technical etude. Now, my first and probably most important piece of advice is make sure that you're working with the metronome. There is no substitute for that. I know sometimes it can seem like going slow in small chunks and building up takes a lot of time, but it is the most effective approach, and once you get used to it, it really doesn't take that much time. Talk to your band director about the best approach if that's not something that you've done before. I'm always happy to answer questions about effective practice techniques. So, just as a first bit of advice. Now, another thing to think about throughout, your air needs to be pretty much constant all the way through a phrase. And I would even think about a little bit of what I call imaginary crescendo, where you're thinking about adding just a little bit as you go along. It helps keep the forward line moving through something that's active, just another little tool in your back pocket there. But the air needs to remain constant as if you were just playing a bunch of strung together whole notes. And the only thing that's going to change, when you're starting one of these slurred segments, I want you to tongue do. When you have a staccato, I want you to tongue di. The air is going to remain constant. That's going to provide the only little bit of contrast that you need there, and that should come out effectively. Now, another idea in the beginning. You have this offbeat start, the end of 2. You want to lean towards 2 and then towards 3 and then towards 4, or in this etude it can be very, very easy to get the beat flipped around, to make it seem like we're not quite playing the rhythm that's on the page. So think da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, lean into the beat each time, and that's going to help get that pulse really well established. One other little idea towards the beginning. In measure 4, we have those leaps from the middle B to the high B, and then the high B to the middle C sharp. Throughout, I want you to think about blowing all the way through your bell. That's going to help regulate that, especially the drop from the B to the C sharp. Make sure that you're not moving your embouchure. That's going to make that very unstable. Just keep everything the same, blow a lot of air. And then maybe you want to think about voicing a little bit. So for the middle B, think T or D, and then for the high B, even though you're not articulating, think ooh or oh, and that's going to help regulate that pitch. but make sure the air is driving all the way through the bell for that entire bar. Similar idea in measure 10. You are going to feel tempted to reach for individual pitches or move your embouchure. If you do that, all is lost. Don't move anything, blow a straight stream of air, pay attention to that crescendo, decrescendo, and shape your air accordingly, and just focus on the air shape there, and move your fingers. If you want to, first slur it, and then when you get really comfortable with it, and it's really precise, go back and add the articulation in. And again, just think did, keep it very light with the di articulation, and that should work for you, but keep it driving in your air, and that is the best path to success there. A couple alternate fingering ideas. In measure 2, beat 2, you can use an alternate F sharp. So finger your F, reach back with your third finger and hit that key. It's a really, really great way of not flipping and doing some awkward technique that could turn into a blip when people hear you play. We also have, obviously, a couple options for our B flats. Throughout this entire piece, you can use your side A sharp, so 1, 2, and then the side key. That'll work for the whole piece. I hope these suggestions have been helpful to you. Obviously, I really hope that you view these etudes and working on them primarily as a way to grow as a musician and as a saxophonist. I hope that you'll reach out to me if you have any questions. But until then, happy practicing.